Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel, The Daily Tea. I'm your host, Daily. Um, Before I forget, please like, comment, subscribe below. I really appreciate all the support up to this point, and just want to say thank you. Any feedback is also really welcome and really appreciated. Definitely helps me build and grow. Um, but yeah, I wanted to actually kind of bring up something that was kind of asked of me recently, um, of why I'm doing these videos, and what am I trying to get out of it. So to go into that a little, I'm definitely not doing these for the validation or the subscribers, but those are appreciated, and definitely if I can reach a wider audience, that's awesome. I hope that whatever I do in these videos does leave a positive impact, maybe helps somebody else navigate their experience just like a little easier. If not, just find a point of relatability for people that aren't in this journey themselves. Maybe just a chance to kind of see a different lens of things, and maybe even plant a seed of compassion to those that don't quite understand this experience. I'm still learning this experience too, so I'm not gonna pretend like I understand this through and through. Um, I don't. And I will appreciate any and all feedback that helps me grow in this more. And in a way that doesn't minimize or reduce anybody else's journey. So, now that that's out of the way, um, I want to talk about a weird little situation that came up today, kind of a funny little blast from the past. Somebody reached out from a life ago and started referring to me as this former person who was this dude. And there was just kind of like this whole weird like mix of emotions, kind of receiving some of these comments and statements and just being like, how do I respond to this? How do I handle this in a way that's compassionate and still standing up for myself? Um, yeah. So I'm gonna kind of go into it. I'm not actually gonna drop their name, just out of respect for them and the friendship that I hope that we grow more of. But yeah, so it kind of started off just seeing the friends request, and then I noticed, oh, there's a message from them too. And this person happens to be from church days for me. And don't judge. For me, church was never about the religion. It was always about spirituality because I am a very spiritual person, just kind of ambiguous about uh, that it's more about just good people, good community for me. Always was. And this person was good people. Like, this person helped me through a lot, and I did a lot of work for them. And yeah, they took me at face value and didn't care about whatever my past had up to that point. And I feel like they still have continued on in that modality, so uh, I'm giving them a chance. Um, but yeah, so they opened up with, "What the heck? Who is this dude I once knew as David?" Which, hi, that's who I formerly was. Um, and I was like, okay, I want to say some things here, but I'm gonna do this tactfully. I'm not trying to blow it up into an argument right away, you know. But I do want this person to respect me in my journey, right? And so I was like, well, this person is someone who decided to stop masking as David. And I feel like, that's just pretty to the point. And followed up with, just personally don't expect this person to understand. And it was a piece of me that I had stuffed down well before I had even met this person. And their response was, well, it's not for me to grasp or agree with, but between you and me, we had a honest human connection. And I was like, I really, really appreciate this statement because they weren't judging me in any way. Um, Even though, there was a little bit of callousness in their first message. It certainly wasn't their intention. And they continued on to say, it doesn't have to be the way I see it. It's just good to see your face again. And I really hope that no matter what your situation is, that you stay in touch with your son. Father's Day is coming up. And then they continued on, kind of again with that little dig, because you are his father. And again, like I can tell this person's kind of pressing at a thing, but I didn't want to give them the satisfaction and victory of me just like completely going off the rails emotionally, and whole correction statement. And I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that part of my life in terms of my kid and everything around that, because it's still unresolved. It's still very much a work in progress. And I may eventually talk about it at some point down in my journey, but right now it's not appropriate, and just not the time for me, but that's okay. So my response to this was, I never stopped wanting to be in touch. However, that decision wasn't left up to me. This other person, my ex-wife, it kind of went down burning in flames in so many ways, but that's not important. I never stopped being his parent, and I haven't given up regardless of what anybody said. Otherwise, but most people don't know the full picture of the situation, and frankly don't get to say a whole lot into it. I really appreciate that you still feel like we have a genuine connection, and I think so long as there's respect, we can continue that connection. It's good to hear from you. And that, I feel, was a very concise way to stand up for myself without completely being like, you know what, screw you, like you don't respect me, da 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 da. Trust me, there were the feelings of like kind of, that emotional center. But I didn't want to let this be definitive of the experience that I think this person was trying to intend. I do think that they have genuine concern and well wishes, but definitely don't understand. And trying to. And they're like, of course we can. And they kind of continued on to ask, what would you like me to call you? Which was like, you know what? All right, cool. First step of recognizing that I'm not the person that you have viewed me as anymore. And kind of an effort to, I think, respect that. And I was bold. I was like, you know what? I am Daly. Personally, I'm not highly political on the whole pronouns conversation. Just look at me as a human being. The rest is pretty obvious. Don't outright call me a dude. Don't outright, um, just call me by my name, or uh, whatever doesn't highlight a former sense of being. Um, and I love the response. Well, I'm just gonna call you friend. To the people out there that are outside looking in and maybe not understanding this journey, I think this is a beautiful moment to kind of highlight that it can be that simple. Um, you don't have to agree. You don't have to understand on a personal level. How could you? Um, but you can totally be supportive, and you can just look at them as the person that they are, that they're choosing to be. Um, and I think the takeaway of just calling a person friend, or I'm sure when it comes to family, this is probably a little dicier, but yeah, I'm Daily. Call me that. It's simple. Hey, just talk to me. You don't even have to, you know how easy it is to start a conversation without dropping a name or a gender? Super easy. Um, I do it all the time, because especially if I'm talking to people that I can't remember the name of, boy, I feel like a lot of us can kind of relate to that moment of like, you can't remember somebody's name and you're like, hey, you just make that eye contact and "No, I'm talking to you." Super easy. Um, but I don't think that this person's trying to just be like outright transphobic or anything like that. Sure, they don't understand. And I would almost offer a word of like trans-sensitive, um, because they're definitely coming from a different walk of life and different views on this subject, but they're still trying to reach out and have a relationship. Um, and I think, especially in this journey, like, you have to kind of take a moment to consider those type of moments and connections where uh, a person is trying to be a part of your life and they do want to just love the person you are. They've enjoyed who you were, but they still want to be a part of that. But obviously, for those differences of views, there may be some abrasiveness, some hard things, and I don't know. As a person who's growing in this journey and going along, like, I think it's to be said, we need as much support as we can get from wherever we can get it. Sometimes, um, I think when it comes to some of those, how is it supportive versus how is it not supportive, almost kind of relationships. You definitely have to consider positioning in your life and how much you let this person in to be a part of things. How do you have a conversation where you stand up for yourself, but also recognize like they're going to be kind of learning in this with you. There is not a one size fits all shoe for this, but I thought I'd just kind of share my little experience because I think I handled it well. And while, you know, there were some moments where I'm just like cringe, um, I kind of do want to see where this goes. I want to see what this can be. Can a person from a completely different viewpoint actually have a respectful and equitable relationship um, with me on my journey? And how can we repeat this process for more people that want to be a part of our journey, um, and kind of have to figure this stuff out. It's like we say it's easy, and maybe it is for us because we're in it, and everything about it is kind of important to us. But to somebody that's not their daily life, maybe this isn't so easy. Um, and how do we let them in and make it easier? Not in a palatable sense, but like definitely with standing up and adhering to our own set of values. So yeah, to be honest, it's a work in progress. We'll see what develops of this. I feel like this is some great conversational material to talk more about. But that's where I'm at now, and thanks for watching. Anyways, yeah, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, feedback, please. Anything you want to hear about, talk about, maybe get my take. Um, yeah, and who knows? How I feel about things now may change down the road. Because I am still growing in this. So yep, I'm gonna leave it right her and